What's up, YouTube? Georgia Silver Hunter back, and today we'll be hunting through a $25 box of pennies for all kinds of good stuff. We'll be looking for wheat pennies, we'll be looking for Indian head pennies, any kind of mint error variety, and obviously if we can find some proofs, that would be pretty cool as well. I was excited when I got this from the bank. We got it open before we got home because I do get a lot of new boxes of pennies, and as you can see, we've got a lot of dark brown copper, which is something else we'll be hanging on to as we get through this hunt. So I'm excited to get into this box of pennies. We will be working on our albums if we can find any album fillers or upgrades, and we'll look at those at the end of the video. So with that, let's jump in to this box of pennies. So if you are new to the channel, these are the albums that I was talking about. These are the Whitman coin folders. Now, starting with 2014, I am full all the way up to the 2024 Philly. So that book is more or less complete. And of course, we'll be upgrading things if we can. The 75 to 2013 book is also completely full with some opportunities for upgrades. And of course, where we're focusing most of our attention is the 1909 to 1974 books. We have lots and lots of holes to fill in this early book. We are missing most of our early wheat pennies. This book's about 75%, maybe 80% full. So anytime we find a wheat penny, it's kind of a big deal. And lately we've only been on probably 6 to 10 wheat pennies a box, maybe 6 to 8. So anyway, if you are watching one of my videos for the first time and you enjoy coin roll hunts or coin collecting, make sure you do. If you enjoy it, click on that like button. Click on that little subscribe button, then click that little bell and select all so you get notified each time I release a new video, and you can follow along with all of my coin roll hunts as we work through these albums. I will, at some point, I think at the end of the video, there'll be a link to the full playlist for this these penny albums, so if you want to start from the beginning, you are welcome to go back and do that. I do want to open 1 or 2 rolls on camera and just thumb through them really, really quickly to see if we can find any older wheat pennies, and if we see any copper that jumps out at us, we'll go ahead and set that aside like that right there. 1966. Just looking at the color. Now, really blingy copper can sneak right by you because it can still be red. There's a 1981. And so that's why we always go back through and look at each and every penny to make sure we're culling that copper, and we do look for mint errors and varieties. And to do that, I have a document in the description of this video that has all of the pennies that we'll be looking for. And I also use the Strike It Rich with Pocket Change book, and there's a link to that in the description below this video. And it's right here. My last hunt that I did was nickel, so we're on the nickel section. So I got to go back and make sure we've got it open here for our Lincoln pennies. But that first roll looks like we had a minimum of about 6 or 7 wheat pennies in it. I'm just going to set those aside because I am going to go back through them. Let's check roll number 2 and see if we can get lucky with some wheat pennies. After this roll, I'll go ahead and go off camera, and I'll bring you in as we find things. There we go. All right, lots and lots of brown in here as well, which tells me if the rest of the rolls in this box are like this, we will end up with quite a bit of copper. That's copper, that's copper. A couple of 71s and 72s in there. That might be copper. 79 it is. All that's going to be copper. 66, 64 Denver, 72 Denver. 77. So if you don't know your copper years of pennies, 1982 and earlier is copper. Now 82 is a split year, so you do need to weigh those pennies to be sure, but a lot of times you can tell from the color alone. And really quickly, if you're unfamiliar, hopefully that's still on camera for you, a copper penny weighs 3.1 grams, a zinc penny weighs 2.5. So that's the really easy way to tell them apart. So with that, I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to look through these guys. Oh, look, something snuck by me. First Canadian, 1994. So we do have a foreign on the hunt already, and quite a bit of copper. As I said, I'll go back through, I'll look for the errors and varieties on everything you see here, including the copper, and I'll bring you in if we find anything special. So we're all the way up here into roll number 10, and along the way I've probably gone through about 3 full rolls of 2022s, and they were all brand new 2022s, so they weren't that exciting. We have had a fair bit of copper along the way, but we've got our first wheat penny find on the box, so let's check it out together. We got ourselves a 1956D, and I thought I saw one more up here as I was spreading it out. We do have another one right there. Let's check it out here. We got a 1946, so a 46 and a 56. 4 rolls later, roll 14. Next wheat penny, number 3 on the hunt, again reverse facing. Let's check it out. Got ourselves a 1941, and this guy supposedly has a DDO on it. Let's check it out together. Now, I don't even know where it is, I'll be really honest, because there's so many penny errors, but we're going to check the usual suspects, which is typically in your lettering. And I'll check the Strike It Rich book and some of my other resources just to be sure. And I do that always at the end of the video as well, just to make sure I didn't miss anything from my finds, but this is just a regular 1941. So bringing you guys in here, I got rolls 15 and 16 out in front of us. Here's roll 15, and wanted to bring you in for a very minor error. I don't find, oh, just lost it. I don't find a lot of error pennies, and this one is super minor. It is a collar error on the strike, and it's where you get a little double rim there on your coin. These are technically errors, but they're fairly common, so not a lot of money there. This is a 1976 copper penny, so I will be putting it aside kind of as an error. But either way, it's still worth about 2.5 cents just in copper. But you can see there that double rim, and I'll put it under the scope just so you can see it really, really well. So if you're an error person and you're finding these, they are minor. If it's something you want to set aside or start an album of these, you probably find a bunch of them over time, but nothing too special. So bringing you back in here for roll 16, it was about 3 or 4 coins in from the end. We've got ourselves another Canadian. Looks like it might be a little bit of an older one, but maybe not. 1975, not too old. Definitely copper. I can't remember if these were like 95 or 98% copper, but we do get a fair amount of Canadians here in Georgia. And that puts us on 3 Canadians and 3 wheat pennies on the hunt. So we are all the way up here on roll number 39, and we've got our next find of the hunt. We've got ourselves a 1951 Denver. We are getting here towards the end, roll 44, and our next wheat penny, reverse facing, looks a little bit older, or maybe it's just tarnished. Let's see. We got a 1953 Denver. Well, we are all the way up here on roll 49 to get to our next wheat penny, reverse facing. Let's check it out together. We've got ourselves, oops, dropped it. We got ourselves a 1957 Denver with a little bit of tarnish on it there. Now, this is wheat penny number 6, which is about average for me lately. 4, 6, somewhere 8, somewhere in that range is what I'm typically getting per box these days, which isn't great. Now, I will say I've been loaded with Canadians. I think I have 10 or 12 Canadians here, and we'll go through all the years. I brought you in, I think, for the first 2. And then I've got a bunch of stunners and a bunch of copper, which we'll cover at the end of the video, but hopefully we can find a little more copper in here and maybe something in roll number 50. Well, this is all that remains after getting through $25 worth of pennies. We're going to go through it really quickly. I brought you in for most of the cool finds, but there's a few things we need to go over because I did not bring you in for. First thing being the copper. I actually did stacks of 10. We were a little light on this box, and it's because we had probably 10 or 12 full rolls of 2022 pennies, which in our typical rolls in Georgia, I'm finding anywhere from 1 copper to probably 6 or 7. So when you take that out, it does reduce the weight quite a bit. For those of you that don't know, each copper penny is worth about 2 to 2.5 cents of copper melt weight in each penny. And today copper's at $4.01 per pound. And we have 100, 250, and I think we've got 13 additional copper pennies up here that we'll cover in a second for 263 pennies. I'll put the coin app's value up on the screen, but it works out to $6.88 worth of copper. So a little more than double the face value, I would say. And what else was I going to tell you? Oh, typically in a box here in Georgia, we get 2 pounds to 2.2, 2.3 pounds of copper. This came in light at about 1 point, I think it was 7 pounds, 1.71 pounds. It'll also be on screen with the total value. I do want to bring it down here. Typically, I get a couple of Canadian coins. This was a lot of Canadian pennies in a box. Normally, I get 2 or 3, maybe 4. Today, we got a whole bunch. And again, many of these are kind of 95 to 98% copper. Not all of them, but you can check that on Numista. I don't really collect copper pennies. I do hang on to them, but I don't create collection books. But we had a 69, we had a couple of 75s, an 80, an 82, an 83, an 84. We had 3 87s and 2 94s. 2 94s. And I want to see, do we have a combination of the different Elizabeth heads? I think we do. There's like a large head and a small head. Canadian currency can be interesting. Like I said, I just kind of hang on to it when I find it, but haven't really started albums. We do have 3 upgrades for our books. We came up with a 1992, kind of a nice stunner, a 1992D. A 2021D is an upgrade. And I've been seeing a lot of people online asking if people are finding 2024s yet. Pennies is where I see it the most. I'm starting to see it in quarters, and I did have a lot of 2024 Philadelphias, and I do have one of these in my book, but this one was a lot nicer, so we're going to upgrade it. As for our we had one little kind of minor error. I did bring you guys in for that. It was a little, it was like a die. I forget what they call it. Like the die tilts when this thing comes down, so you get a little bit of a double rim. Not worth a whole lot, and I'm sure I probably missed a few of these because they're really common. They're not too hard to find. I did get a decent-looking 71D, a decent 77, 80D, 281s, and a decent large date 1982. All kind of nicer copper. I do roll this stuff up separately from just my base standard copper. As for the cool finds, I would call a cool find any wheat penny or earlier penny. We did get a 41, a 46, a 51 Denver, a 53 Denver, a 56 Denver, and a 57 Denver. And for whatever reason, I really struggle to find wheat pennies earlier than 1941. I just cannot get anything. Nope, that's not the right book. It's this one. We've only got about 20 coins in this book, and it's really starting to be frustrating. I would love to find a great box of pennies one of these days. But if you are new to coin roll hunting, pennies is a great way to start. It's a $25 investment, and there's tons and tons of stuff to look for. And they do take quite a bit of time. So if you have a nice rainy weekend, you can spend a lot of time on a Saturday or Sunday hunting pennies. So with that, I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to get all this stuff rolled up separately and get everything else rolled up and back to the bank. And I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, let me know. Drop on down below. Click that like button and leave me a comment. If you're new to coin roll hunting and you want more videos like this in your feed, make sure you do click that subscribe button and then click that little bell and select all so you get notified each and every time I release a new video. Special shout out to all my channel members. Thank you guys for supporting the channel each and every month. I really appreciate it. I've been a little delayed getting videos out this week. I've actually already got a nickel video in the can. This is the end of this video, and I have a couple of $half hunts to couple of $half boxes to get through. So hopefully we'll get some content out this week and you guys enjoy all of it. So with that said, you guys take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.